We're just about to start that process too. Not for public discussion. We're metering the news out.
Oh, hey,
slowly,
we're
but
public. We're live.
Oh, okay.
that's good, right?
Well, yeah, but if you said not for public discussion, I wanted to let you know that
That's okay. I buried it really deep.
Okay.
We're live, but we have no viewers, so.
We have at least one because we've already got a comment in. Miggy.
Yeah, we've got one on Facebook.
Miggy's commenting, where's the pizza?
We're waiting for a shipment from Hawaii, Mig.
Pineapple does go on pizza. I know that's not the topic right now.
Absolutely it does.
But it
The
does.
tartness, the sweetness. Next, it'll
In
be
order
Spam.
to put it on pizza properly, you need to grill it first. There needs to be char marks on the thing.
Of course.
You just need to add more salty stuff. I like linguiça or bacon in addition to the ham, and then
There
it
you
works.
Well, bacon's kind of a given anywhere, right?
Well, on most things.
Well,
Bacon makes everything better.
yep. Have you noticed that the countries with the most
it does.
conflict over time are ones that don't eat bacon?
That's also true.
Explain
Bo smelled
Germany.
bacon cooking during his nap and came running out of his room. So there was no nap today. There isn't usually, but he was tired. He needed one.
Yeah, don't tell him Grandpa's on.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to. I specifically did not. Because if he finds out, then it's all.
Oops. Wrong one. That's the right one.
That's,
Okay.
I feel insulted.
Miggy says, I plead the fifth, and
You can't count that high.
SRFTC says, and are we on the air? I believe we are. You know,
We are on Facebook. I can't answer about YouTube.
yeah.
We are on both. I've got them both up on my auxiliary monitors.
All
Okay.
right.
My Radio Shack computer doesn't tell me.
So I do believe, guys, we are. And now, do we have a? We should have discussed this before I actually kicked the streams live. Do we have a fun conversation for afterward? Because this is gonna. I'm gonna get full blown torqued off. I am fairly certain. By the time we're done discussing this, do we have a fun kind of idea for?
Let's continue
If we're
with
talking,
does pineapple go in or on various foods?
Okay.
but I think we all think it does. Pineapple does. It does.
Well, no, we could expand that. For
Yeah,
instance,
let's expand on it until we find something to fight over.
Well,
That-
I
like
can
the
tell
way
you right
think.
now.
That's great.
Black
suck.
jelly beans, they could discontinue all other jelly beans as long as they're black, they're good.
licorice is wonderful
Ew.
stuff. We're too much together on that one, Paul. Unless either one of these heathens have some other opinion.
Black licorice is disgusting.
No, it's the best stuff on earth.
There we go.
So is red. It's the purple licorice that you can only freaking get. Only can find it in Washington and Oregon right now. I look every time I'm up there. I stop and I look like a
Are we
crazy
talking
person.
like the Australian stuff or the Halloween or bit in the back of grape wrap?
The Australian stuff is good, but the red vine people make grape, and it's really good. They just don't sell it
Like
everywhere
McDonald's,
because they're jerks.
And before we actually start recording, I want to hit this one. And where do you get the best chow while you are on the road? You bring it with you. You load it in the refrigerator in the truck before you leave. And Miggy, oh my goodness, Miggy, you are so right. Liquid licorice is the best.
Yeah, okay.
Uzo, anybody?
You.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I
Never got
wouldn't
around
say
to that
best,
before.
but
All right. I do believe we'll continue the food conversation towards the end of the show when we need a little bit of lighter content. I do believe I'm ready to start pressing a button, and we will start our discussion. Here we go. everybody. Welcome to episode 13 of the Reasonable Person podcast. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm one of your co-hosts. Joining me tonight, two of your other co-hosts, Kat Ainsworth and Brian D. Almeida. Also joining us tonight, somebody you're going to recognize. He was with me a lot on the Daily Bullet and the Bullet. Tom Walsh from the Firearms Academy of Seattle. And Tom, you need to calm down.
I'm insulted, you fascist.
All right. Tonight we're going to be the almost the entire conversation is going to be consumed with events about 4 hours northeast of where I live that happened just over 72 hours ago. Happened Wednesday morning. I've been thinking all day of how to synopsize this, and I keep floating back and forth one way or another. I'm going to just put it as bluntly as I think I can get away with. A paid protester was shot and killed Wednesday morning when she tried to block ICE and obstruct law enforcement in the Minneapolis area. I'm going to be very exact in my wording here. Her wife was filming outside the vehicle, and apparently there was a dog. I know there was a dog. I've seen video. There was a dog in the back seat. Lady is told to exit the vehicle many times that I heard, puts it in reverse, backs up a foot or two, drives forward towards another ICE agent. ICE agent does what ICE agents do when their lives are threatened, and now we're down one protester. The world is improved by 1/10 billionth of a percent because that protester is gone. I do say that literally, and I mean that, because if you've seen the video of if you've seen the badge cam of what happened, these two people are professional agitators. And we need less of them in this world, and any way they choose to go out is good with me. And I know, Tom, I need to calm down. I'm gonna get hate over that.
That's the thing. This whole story has generated hate, no matter which side does something. It's almost a given, and it's kind of sad. That's the default response from a lot of folks. I have not talked to any of my friends, and I do have some on the other side of the political fence that have not had some kind of strong feeling one way or the other. Rather adamant. There's very little middle ground, and what little middle ground I'm seeing is from, if I can say, our side tends to be a bit more objective. Looking for where's more facts, where's more body cam, where's some footage. Show me some more stuff. There's been more. Well, like you said, it's been 72 hours. There's been more 72-hour rule with this from our side because we've gotten sadly used to needing to do that.
Yeah.
But the other side are immediately spinning it as evil, spinning it like that that ICE officer wanted to do that. For those of you that were wise enough not to catch me in any of Paul's other stuff, I'm not a retired police officer. I'm a retired reserve police officer with all the things that means. But still, I have yet to meet anybody in that profession that wants to take another human life.
I would imagine, Tom, that the vast majority of police officers are like the vast majority of armed citizens. Every day when we strap that thing on, we go, please, dear God, let this not be the day I have to use this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
from a practical point of view, the paperwork alone. I'm sorry, Brian.
No, I would say that tracks with everybody I know, as armed civilians or as law enforcement. Nobody wants to have to use it. The best the best days are the days that you leave and you come home with the same number of bullets.
It is, and I think it's almost hard to know where to start picking at this one because there's so much. But one of the interesting things I've seen in a narrative that's still being pushed is that she had just dropped her 6-year-old child off at school and was on her way home and was horribly, brutally murdered by this agent. And we know that's not true, especially as more information has come out. But here's what I find interesting, and I've got to reference my phone so I can remember the name of this school. So, aside from the fact that she's not just on her way home, her 6-year-old son is enrolled in the Southside Family Charter School. They are a small K-5 school that meets the needs of a culturally and ethnically diverse population by engaging children in critical thinking and problem solving, involving children in political and social activism. They have told people to report any ICE sightings. They help people go and stalk ICE, like the late Renee Good. I did not even know a social justice school was a thing. I had no idea.
Oh, they are.
So I feel like that's a really important piece of the puzzle that is not getting much coverage.
I said earlier she was a paid protester. I have no proof of that other than I know they exist and I know they are active in the Minneapolis area. I know that for a fact. I do believe she did. There is training from the school that her child attends that her and her wife took to agitate and harass federal law enforcement.
Well, Paul, you mentioned something earlier.
Yeah.
You described the woman as a paid protester. Let me take you to task. Do you have anything to back that up? Did you actually see something with that?
I
I
have
happen
not.
to think it probably was.
That was an assumption on my part. I absolutely have no proof of that. No.
I wouldn't bet against
I
you.
want to point out that she is now, and she may be deceased, but the GoFundMe is over 1.5 million,
Yeah.
and it will likely go
Wow.
to the wife. So they closed it, but that doesn't mean another one won't open. I bet another one will.
Should be a
But
trust.
they're
fund.
wealthy now. It should be. It should be. Sure, it won't be.
Miggy says early indoctrination. How cool. How Soviet of them.
It is. Hopefully, her late husband's brother is trying to get custody of the kid. Apparently, so hopefully he's successful. He's already gone on the record along with her late husband's father saying they don't agree with what she does or what she says. They're still sorry that this happened, and they're hoping they can get the kid. So it sounds like they don't exactly see along the same lines as her and her wife.
Isn't it interesting how simple politics tear families apart? Cat knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
We all
they really do.
relatives that don't talk to us anymore because our views aren't the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. And with this, I can only imagine what all might be in that background. But, the whole dropped her kid off at school, heck, she didn't even drop him off at a real school. For heaven's sake, he's a 6-year-old. I'm trying to envision dropping Bo off at 4 years old at a social justice school. And I can't even begin to understand why that seems like a rational, logical, or good idea to raise kids.
So
Well,
you're
there's
Don't
telling
teach
me
them.
you don't think a 6-year-old
What?
can understand what justice is? That was a rhetorical
Probably
question.
not. I mean, they'll know what they're told. That's the worst
Girls are
part. They're just
lucky
going to
and
be
I
so
like to bet
easy indoctrination. Easy.
There are people whose worldview aligns with that, and naturally they're going to raise their kids that way. And frankly,
Yeah.
up to the point where they're not infringing on anybody else's right, they can do that. Now, I'm going to disagree vehemently with what they're going for, and and say you are not doing that kid any favors in helping them learn how to live in the real world. But that's one of the things with living in a free society is people are allowed to make bad decisions, and
This is true.
that's their right. We can disagree, we can argue with them, we can we can counter protest in opposition to, but ultimately they can do that.
Well, if you want to go down that philosophical rabbit hole, um, I tend to think of it this way: if you're not permitted by whomever seems that they feel they can give permission, if you're not permitted to make bad choices, are you really making a free choice at all?
You aren't.
Yeah,
Well,
you have
there,
the
there,
freedom in America to make your bad choices, but you might not like the results you're going to get out of it.
There
well,
are
as long
consequences
That's
to
what
all
happens.
choices.
There's the dig right there. Is I should be able to make bad choices, but I should be free from the circumstance of those choices. Is the uh, mantra of the left. They don't want to take responsibility for anything, but they want to be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
not the real
it's
world.
no, and one of the things I saw that was interesting was, and this was like within hours of this hitting the news wire, was someone saying that this is a person who has never been held accountable and
Very
has
possibly.
this expectation that she can do whatever she wants without any negative repercussions. And if you watch, and this may not be a popular thing to say, but I'm guessing this audience won't care. If you watch the video and you watch her face, I watched it over and over. She was having fun antagonizing them.
I
And
concur.
when her wife told her, drive, baby, drive, she did. I don't know if her goal was murder, to actually kill that agent, or she thought it was funny to scare him. But the outcome's the same either way. And, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It amazes me there are still people who are saying that it wasn't her fault. He shouldn't have shot her. He stood there on purpose. It was a poor tactical decision. Okay, but he was doing what they're supposed to be doing for context right now and recording the entire periphery of the car. That's what they're supposed to be doing. So, and you can also see her look at him and turn the wheel. So it's not good. The more videos that have come out, the more clear it becomes that she was having fun with it and clearly thought that she could do the FA part without the FO part and found out she was wrong.
Yeah, and we've reached the point here where intentions don't actually matter. Your
Mm-hmm.
intentions matter as they inform your decisions. You reach a point where you've made a decision and your intent no longer matters, but the actual effect of your action does. Which if she intended to hit that officer, if she was attempting to avoid him, is irrelevant because her actions directly put him at risk and did in fact injure him. And he responded, as far as I can tell, in line with his training and in line with the law. And so, I mean, intention is great up to a point, but ultimately, the consequences of your actions are independent of what you intended. If you do bad things with good intentions, they have bad effects, and in the real world, you're not supposed to be able to just absolve yourself of responsibility because you didn't mean for things to go that way.
So I
Yeah.
didn't mean to, or I was just kidding, is what I used to hear a lot. I didn't mean to do that, but it went. And
Too
the
bad.
thing is, what thing's correct, but it went beyond that. It didn't stop there. She didn't get placed in cuffs. She didn't get hooked up and stuffed in the car. Protesting, I didn't mean to. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Whatever the common phrase would have been used. But her actions, and prior to her even using her vehicle to block, apparently she'd been stalking that crew for some time. And they wanted to take her into custody. They were demanded she get out of the car. They have the legal authority to do that. And in resisting the detention, That act of hers, that choice,
Hmm.
went past anything the officer did. He was caught up in circumstances. Maybe his I would agree with Kat. His tactical actions were not the best, but who among us acts perfectly? Because he didn't act as we
Especially
might
in
think
high stress
perfectly.
situation.
Yeah, it doesn't absolve her of those series of choices which led to ultimately to her death. It's tragic, but it doesn't absolve her.
I
Well, some. Go ahead, Paul.
I
Sorry.
do want to bring up also the officer that did fire that shot or those shots. Uh, I do not have proof of this. Again, this is just things I've consumed over the past 3 days. That officer was drug from a vehicle 6 months
Right.
ago. And I think that would absolutely lead into his reasoning for firing that shot. He was seriously injured 6 months ago. Was he reasonably in fear of grave bodily harm or death? I would argue that his previous, his what had happened to him previously would make that more probable that was a reasonable fear.
Is it not reasonable that happening a second time and what he sees eye level within however many feet that was, a vehicle coming at him? I mean, do you have to worry about, well, some people are like, well, the wheel was turned, it would have missed him.
He
Or
couldn't see
he
that.
could have jumped out of the way. That's that Monday morning we all have the time in the world to review that.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He did not.
And and that's something I'd like to hear from you, Tom. Also, is from the perspective of both the reserve police officer and as a firearms instructor. Um, the use of force on a vehicle that is inches away and accelerating toward you. What the common knowledge is, what is taught, as far as you know. I know all departments are different, but just generally speaking.
Okay. First off, understand I'm here. I am one of the senior instructors at the Firearms Academy of Seattle, which is not in Seattle, by the way. We're in Free Lewis County, which is farther south. But I'm not representing them, and their viewpoints may be different, but I doubt it. Let's take and back it up a little bit and remove the specifics. That it was a whatever purple SUV Honda. Um, you're in contact distance with a deadly weapon, and you try to get out of the way, and you can see that the officer, at least I can see that the officer tried to get 1 foot out of the way to pivot. Um, but I think he was too close to know which direction or if even the car was going to swerve one way or the other. So that's a non-issue. He's in contact distance with a contact weapon of superior force. However many foot pounds can, I think you did this in an article. However many foot pounds of force a 4,000 pound vehicle can generate accelerating from zero. And I had been taught, and I've been to training courses as well as law enforcement training, says shoot the damn thing as you move. I can't guarantee I'm going to get out of the way. I can't guarantee that um, it's not going to track me and follow me those last few feet. And it's a matter of risk versus stakes, and the stakes are real high when I've got a full size vehicle accelerating toward me. They have the ability, talk ability, opportunity, jeopardy, as we learned from Mr. Ayub. Certainly have the ability because they're this far away. They certainly have the opportunity because it's right now, and jeopardy has been manifested because they've been acting in an aggressive manner, at least verbally, toward law enforcement and you specifically all day. And it was at one of you smart people figure this out for me. Was it Oliver Wendell Holmes? Some famous justice had said that calm reflection is not demanded or reasonable at the tip of an upturned knife. So he's in one of those. Got to happen right now. And I'm sure that was reflex. Interestingly enough, his technique was good. It had been practiced, I suspect, because he drew very smoothly and quickly from a security holster. his first shot was an excellent shot, and those of you that have shot through windows of cars, the glass will deflect the bullet, and he, by blind luck or maybe some training, accounted for that and ended the threat. And did he follow up? Yeah. Is he shooting a fleeing felon? That's an interesting question if you want to dive into it there.
Let's get some comments in here because we've got a whole bunch of great ones
Oh,
that,
good.
that I want to get into, and I can only pull on and put on screen YouTube comments. So Kat and Brian, I've got to have you guys watch Facebook and bring those comments in if we're getting any. But let me get this first one in here. Uh, Frog Tech Garden says, didn't the ex-husband have custody of one child already because the wife had put cigarettes out on him? I have no
Ooh,
proof of that, but I have heard that myself. Miguel, Gun Free Zone,
Iggy.
says, you guys are giving them credit for the possibility of making wrong choices. Deep inside their minds, they do not make wrong choices. They are always right. The other side is wrong, always. That is an excellent point. I can't remember the last time I, in my own mind, thought as I was doing something, dude, you might be wrong here. However, I am always willing to admit when I am proved wrong, and I'm willing to talk with people that can prove me wrong. That's why Tom's here. That's why Kat's here. That's why Brian's here. They have that they're all smart enough that they can say, you're a little off base, Paul. Explain it, and I may agree.
Well, with people like we have in this group right now, you want to get to the truth, and you can, swallow your ego a little bit because that's your goal, rather than to be proven right and shown to be the smartest person in the room, or be admired, or whatever that might be. I want to know what it is. I want to know what's going on so I can change my opinion. And all of you guys are going, yeah. Interesting. We run into that more in this culture than I've seen elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's something I've cultivated as as I grow as an adult and a father, reflecting on people that I've known. The way that I was raised is cultivating a mindset of I could be wrong. Am I being the a-hole here? Because that is always a possibility. And it takes a certain amount of, I think, maturity and self reflection to be able to do that. Because most people seem to go through life convinced that they are always in the right, and they don't consider the possibility that they could, in fact, be in the wrong here, which leads them to not do the sort of introspection necessary to change their behavior.
And if you're referring to me being an a-hole, that is almost always the case. Let me get another
That's
comment
kind of
up
my
here.
default, too.
uh, the
Start
next
with it.
comment I've got up here are that officer should have been more aware of situational awareness and been off his phone. I've seen what supposedly is that officer's body cam. I do see a phone in his hand. He is recording for himself. I'm guessing body cam belongs to ICE. The phone belongs to him. He wanted his own record of what was going on. I'll say this though, in order for him having a phone in his hand to go from that to very quickly having a gun out, both hands on the gun, making a shot on target. I mean, we're talking Jerry Mikulik speed here. That was really quick.
Interestingly enough, I've watched the same videos we've all watched, and I see here's my prop. I see the cell phone in his right hand, and I see him draw with his right hand. He's using the mic button with his left. So that's some really, really quick decision making and some skill. And this is speculation. I wonder if he's not using a cell phone to record video because he can instantly upload it somewhere. I have no reason to think that other than just, that's kind of weird. He's using a personal device. Um, The
We've got a
technology is
couple of comments on YouTube on this.
sorry.
We got a couple of comments on YouTube on that. We've got one
Yeah,
SRFTC saying that the ICE officers do not wear body cams and they use their phones to document.
interesting.
I don't know if I don't know if that's true. I'm not federal law enforcement.
Well, he
And
did in fact document.
Yes, he did.
uh, 1009 R.A. Clark says cell phone was in his left hand. Um, Frog Tech Garden says, I'll be very interested to see what comes from the wife's phone. I don't think we will ever see that.
I really doubt it. I've been wondering about that myself. I doubt it. And I wonder if they had a dash cam because it wouldn't be surprising since they'd been following ICE. I do wonder if there was any kind of dash cam or anything on their end.
If the wife's cell phone video is what they believe to be exculpatory, oh yeah, we'll see it. Or if it doesn't, or if she wants to monetize it, I don't know. But it would be subject to subpoena, I believe.
And I got to get this one in from Miggy. I beseech you, in the bowels of Christ, think it possible that you may be mistaken. Oliver Cromwell. God bless you, Miggy.
I was thinking that was really articulate, for me. But yeah,
It's all the pineapple. It is. Something, and that is something definitely worth jumping on also is the speed of the draw stroke and how quickly he actually got a shot on target because like it or not that did involve skill. It's not just luck.
No, right.
yeah.
There are people who think it's luck or chance, but it's not. Combined with what we know about, and I will always openly say this, a major lack of proper training in law enforcement in general. So I don't know this. I have nothing to back this up. I am assuming that he has spent range time on his own or trained somewhere else and done something beyond what he was required to do on the federal side. I have spent time at the range with ICE agents. Always very particular about not being photographed, understandably. And this was even a decade ago. I can remember one who was like, "Yeah, no pictures of my face." Somewhere I've got a bunch of pictures of his back on the firing line. But definitely lacking training in general. I remember being super unimpressed with that guy. Hopefully he's not watching this because I have no idea. But what do we think of that as far as based on what we know about training? I'm going to let you guys run with it because Bo just walked in here.
Um, Tom, I'm going to go to you first, man.
I'm not going to tell you I have a lot of experience training with federal agents. I spent a lot of time training with law enforcement. The most interesting student that consistently comes to mind that I had in a class at FAS. It was kind of an intermediate advanced level class. And everybody's on the line, and there's some swinging dicks in there, and there's some quiet people in there, and there's one or two bunches of friends. And there's this one gentleman. He wasn't imposing physically. He was 5'7", my hairstyle, probably in his early 60s. And he was just quiet, and he did the drills, and he would occasionally ask a question. But this guy was good. And he's not running anything fancy. He's got like a black 511 pants that had been used a lot. They were in good repair, but they'd been washed a lot. His gear was comfortable. His belt and holster were not new. They're not out of the package, but they were in good shape and worn in a comfortable, familiar manner. He was shooting like a Model Zero, Mark Zero Glock 17. Been around the block. The black finish is worn off. Ran flawlessly. Dude was put together. And there was just something about his very quiet confidence. So I went up to him at break and I said, "Sir, who are you?" Or actually, I said, "What are you?" And he understood that. He said, "Federal flight deck officer." In other words, his job, anybody that came through the door of the cockpit that wasn't supposed to, his job was to kill them.
Yeah, there's your quiet
Very
professional.
professional in his manner, in his behavior, in his training. I don't know if ICE gets that level of training. I certainly hope they do. But like Kat was saying, officer in question here was. You may argue about how close he was to the vehicle and all that stuff, but when it came down to it, his response was very quick, very practiced, and very accurate.
Yeah, it speaks of many, many, many repetitions. And, alluding to
No
what
meg dumping.
And we
Huh?
just got a comment in that I've got to get on the air because it's absolutely on target with what we're talking about right now. 1009 R.A. Clark says currently ICE is only getting 5 months of training. That's less than regular law enforcement. That 5 months is about to drop to 47 days. That. I have no proof of that. I have no. That's just a comment.
It's
I.
true.
It is true. Okay.
It's true. She actually sent me some of the links, and I read those, and I looked up others. It changed a while ago to 47 days. Sorry, I've got a 4-year-old in here now. But it is true, and I was looking at the breakdowns of different states and field training time and all the details of length of actual hands-on training with firearms. And ICE, they got rid of redundancies and they removed a lot of the time spent on Spanish fluency, which is interesting but not surprising. Um, I mean, I almost don't want to comment on it because I already think law enforcement's undertrained in general. They
No,
just are. It's just life.
my question then, Kat, would be how many hours of firearms training, or actually more important, scenario training after you get past the basics?
Yeah, I
Something
have not gotten that far with it.
something that Brian said earlier about brutal honesty. At least that's the phrase I use, and what I kind of heard in my head. You said you've got to do that to be that good on the range. Um, there's a if those of you that follow Larry Correa, he's going through a big argument in his thing about point shooters, and these two factions, you'll hear it about carrying appendix or dots versus irons or whatever. It comes down to what can you deliver on demand,
Mhm.
especially when you know that it's going to be demanded.
Um,
Yeah, I'm team appendix in case anyone wants to fight about that at some point. But
I disown
but
you.
it's true, and well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. I just want
Yeah.
you to remember that you raised me. You raised me to be evil. So this is no surprise. This is your
She's got
fault.
a
Yes, yes,
point.
yes, we did. No, you can carry appendix.
Peace
All
Out
right, thank you.
4337 says ICE has been recruiting from my city's police department, so they look for trained LEOs. And then
That makes
next
sense.
comment, she adds, plus a huge signing bonus. Lost a few good officers to them from that.
Peace out.
Uh,
If I can ask, are we talking like laterals then, rather than off the street newbie rookies? They're looking for laterals with people with experience.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it does. I
I
wanted to
saw the
lock
laterals.
the difference.
I did see lateral training is becoming a bigger thing than it used to be with them trying to expand it.
Okay. And I'm using
Jenny Van
lateral.
Tile. Yeah, Jenny Van Tile commented on Facebook. She said the Washington State Patrol only gets 40 hours of firearms training. That doesn't surprise me. Honestly, it's almost more than I thought they got, to be
I've
honest,
been
because
through that.
I've been
I've been through
friends
that
with a lot
program.
of them,
Yeah,
and I was
and it's
unimpressed.
70% at 70 out of 100 score to be able to carry a firearm. Now training after that varies. FAS gets rented a lot for different agencies to use for their own training with their own trainers. Use the facility, and sometimes they'll let our staff watch. But yeah, it's basically speaking from a cop point of view, putting my old reserve hat on. Um, a gun is just a tool, like a radio or a car or a baton or pepper spray or a clipboard. And not all cops are gun people. And to those of you that
Yep.
didn't know, oh my God, it's true.
Um, back to
I
some more
I would say
comments, if
not
I
very
could.
many cops are
I
fine.
I've heard going. I've heard that it's about the same split as it is in the general public. There are cops that do not like guns. There are cops that really like guns, and there's about 20% that do not like them, 20% that really like them, and 80% that fall kind of somewhere in the middle. Back to some of the comments. The one I got up right now, Peace Out says, I was told 50,000 signing bonus to be recruited.
Okay?
And she also said, anyone, they're offered to anyone at the PD, even 20-year guys. And then Miguel, Miggy says there are ads in YouTube that mentioning the bonus. And let's see here. Let me put one more. SRFTC says my California Academy in the 1980s was 624 hours across 16 weeks. 60 hours of that was firearms training. Currently, the California post minimum is 644 hours, although a lot of additional agencies add additional. Um,
Let me jump in here real quick, Paul. This
yeah,
number of hours you need to look at how much is with this which system. Like Jenny mentioned earlier, Washington State Patrol is 40. That's just handgun. Shotgun and rifle would be extended beyond, but basic basic law enforcement training sometimes is just limited to handguns.
well,
Yeah.
I can't speak for anybody else that is on screen right now, but I can tell you right now, I have I would embarrass most training departments with the amount of firearms training I've had. Um,
I've
it,
shot
it,
with you, yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to say I am an expert shot. I did shoot expert on the FBI quals. Matter of fact, I shot good enough that I could be an instructor for the FBI quals. However, there are a lot of people, including people on the screen with me, multiple people on the screen with me, that are better shots than I am, which tells you I'm good enough to pass law enforcement tests, but I'm not great. It's not a high bar to clear.
Yeah, I've
Wow.
shot with a lot of cops. Coming, especially coming from the competitive side of things. For a couple of years, I was sponsored by a local range, so I spent a lot of time there. Saw a lot of officers shoot. Usually they're bringing in family and they're doing their thing. They're not doing serious training, but observing. Most of the cops are not great shots. The ones that I've known who are good, I know them all from USPSA and IDPA and Three Gun. These are the guys who have who've put in a lot of effort outside of their mandatory training to become good, and that seems to be pretty consistent across pretty much all agencies.
Good for them. Well, to have the skills, but to have the mindset of a full time professional officer. How could I apply this to what happened yesterday to my buddy Officer Mike and that sort of thing. It changes it a little bit. I've shot classes. I remember once at Gunsight we had one guy that was super good competitor with a pistol. He was great till they got to the tactical side. But you get somebody
Yep.
with the motivation. I'm pointing at you, Brian. You're low on
Oh,
my
that's
screen
okay.
there. You got the skills and the motivation to do it well. Uh, that's an officer I want to go through the door.
And before we run out of time here, because Paul, I'm guessing you want to jump to a happier topic here shortly.
Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking about it.
does
I'll need
anyone
about two
want
minutes before we do that.
does anyone want to address the elephant in the room, ignoring the child climbing on my back?
Or my dogs.
That of whether or not it was there's a lot of people on the other side who would be cheering if the ICE agent was dead. We know
Yep.
this is fact. We saw
Oh,
what happened with Charlie Kirk.
don't start.
She was actually at one of those rallies celebrating Charlie Kirk dying, by the way. Loved those pictures. Those were great. Um, but am I sorry she's dead? Absolutely. It's terrible. It's a tragedy. But it was the result of her own actions. So it was very cause and effect. It was absolutely her fault. And I'm going to let you guys run with it from there. And also, I do want to point out really quick, I am sure that agent, I mean, he has to live with this for the rest of his life. Anyone who thinks that they just run out there like Rambo and have an officer involved shooting and kill someone and sleep like a baby and don't care, those people are idiots.
I'm going to say
Because it
this.
absolutely affects them.
I'm going to say this right off the bat. I have defriended 2 people on Facebook in the last 48 hours because they doxed this guy, giving his real name, real address. I not only defriended, I reported them, and then I blocked them. I don't. They will never see me again. And I'm going to tell you, if anybody I personally know and I personally interact with does that, you and I are going to have words, and you ain't going to enjoy it.
Amen.
Um, that the the guy, like him, dislike him, he was doing his job.
Yeah.
How many jobs require you to wear Kevlar underwear?
Only one,
No.
well, 2 that I know of: soldier and policeman.
Yeah, and the people that think that it was just a car, it wasn't going that fast, like Tom pointed out earlier, it's a 4,000-pound mass of metal, and all she had to do was go 5 miles an hour to have almost 22,000 pounds of force into hitting him at that distance. So imagine the fact that she was accelerating faster than that, because she was. And it becomes much worse and much more serious. And people really need to get realistic about how dangerous that situation was for him. Like it or not, whichever side of the aisle you're on, he could easily have died, had his femur fractured. All kinds of things could have happened to him. All because she wanted her little, video of fame or whatever that was, judging by the smile on her face and her wife's attitude. To them, it was a game, interfering with a federal law enforcement. They'd been leading the blockade all day. They were known to these people, and they were having fun doing it and causing as much trouble as they could. I
And
am
then
all for, absolutely, and I am all for just freaking arrest them and be done with it. If you're interfering with an investigation or anything like that, then oh, and I see Rebecca's comment. Absolutely. I agree. I think there should be an investigation anytime there is an officer involved shooting, regardless of the agency.
And
That's one
Pretty
of the
sure
regardless
that's
of whether
standard everywhere.
regardless of whether there's a fatality, if you discharge your weapon, there should be an investigation.
Yeah, and even if the investigation, says yes, this was legally justified, there should be the after action review, of saying, okay, what could have been done better. That's part of your basic approach to constant self improvement, is say, okay, well, he was legally justified. We were within the bounds of the law. What could we have done better? Always a question to be asked.
I'm sure that's going to happen. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're right.
And
If
Jenny Vantel. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait.
If nothing else, Brian, to maintain some integrity with yourself as a professional, and to maintain
Absolutely.
integrity with the population, that you are being responsible. You're not brushing it away or sweeping it under the rug or whatever cleaning metaphor you want to use.
All right.
Okay, Kat, you had a
That-
comment you wanted to cover, and then I need about 2
Yeah.
minutes before we transition.
Jenny Vantel commented again, and God, it is impossible to cover everything in 1 hour. mentioning that Waltz and the mayor, Jacob, I don't know if it's Fry or Frey, Jacob, whatever the heck his name is, have to take some responsibility in this with their rhetoric. And she is right. They incited people to violence to a ridiculous level. Hearing
and continue to do so.
hearing the mayor tell ICE to get the F out of Minneapolis and telling people to give them trouble and to fight back and all this stuff, and Waltz has done the same thing. Um, it's a little mind blowing. And you know that if this was, let's say this was in Texas and Abbott was doing that, inciting people to violence, heads would roll. I mean, the other side would be screaming at the highest levels to have him impeached, to get him out of office, to have him charged with being complicit to something. And of course, that's not happening. They're
Or
going
if
to
you're
run
the
their mouths and
president and
nothing's
at the
going to happen.
rally in January.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
All right.
Minneapolis is having a riot right now, so we'll see how bad that goes.
Yeah.
I just pray that there are, should that thing spill into areas where real honest to God decent people live, that there are more Kyle Rittenhouses in Minneapolis than there were in Wisconsin, because they're going to need them. One more comment, then Brian, I'm going to let you go. Then we're gonna make our left turn. But I got to get this one up here real quick. Miguel says it is being investigated. The local prosecutors and politicians are mad because they're not allowed to participate. They are not allowed to participate. Anything that makes the mayor of Minneapolis mad is a good thing.
That seems pretty reasonable at this point.
Brian, you wanted a couple minutes. You got him, man.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, so as I was going, I've been sick the last couple of days, so I've had plenty of time to look at stuff. But, thinking about this and stepping back from the specific situation, I have my three great lessons of the history of the 20th century. One, prohibition never works. Two, socialism, communism always results in mass death. And three, of all possible entities, your government is the most likely one to kill you. So when you as a person, you are opposed to action that your government is taking. You have a legal, lawful right to protest. There are limitations on what peaceful protest is. When you decide to go beyond that and you start actively interfering with lawful operations of law enforcement, you are consciously making a decision that is taking your life into your hands. Now, it is up to each individual to decide whether or not something is worth truly risking your life over, and some people may have actually thought of that, but I don't think most people have. But ultimately, when it goes back to don't go stupid places and do stupid things with stupid people. If you are going to actively interfere with law enforcement performing lawful functions, regardless of your reasoning, you are placing yourself at risk of this happening, and that is a direct consequence of your actions. And people need to get serious and stop imagining that is not a possibility, because it is always a possibility. We could use everybody stepping back, calming down a little bit, and understanding and truly understanding the potential ramifications of their actions. Which any time that you're interfering with lawful police operations include possibly being shot.
Yeah, if you hear step out of the vehicle from an officer in uniform, that doesn't matter what that uniform is. It could be a game warden. If somebody in uniform is telling you to step out of the vehicle, the only reasonable thing to do is step the hell out of the vehicle.
Yeah, if you think that you are in the right and the officer is in the wrong, that is something that has to be addressed through the legal system after the fact. At that moment is not the time to be arguing your case, because that is not the officer's job. And Sorry, I forgot where I was going. Where else I was going with that?
Court is not held on the side of the street. And you are
Exactly.
not going to win a physical confrontation with law enforcement. Fight it in court.
Yes. Which, as we
Absolutely.
know, is expensive and time consuming and to be avoided at pretty much most costs. But you are not going to get out better by trying to argue with the officer who is currently writing you a ticket or is currently detaining you. And getting escalated and taking violent action or attempting to flee is not going to take you any nice place.
Not in the least. Not in the least. Guys, we're about 50 minutes into this. Been a very heavy topic. Let's take a little bit of a left turn here, and I can't think of a better conversation to have than go back to the other one we were having, and that is the only flavor of jelly beans that matter is black jelly beans. They are the
Because all jelly
absolute
beans are
best.
disgusting.
How could I be on the same screen as a man like this?
Which of us are you talking about?
Well, there's three men, and I'm talking, so it's down to you. Can I jump in with something, Paul?
Go right ahead.
I'm going to make a right turn, though, because I do not lean left. For those of you that know me, if you're worried, I've been sipping on this. This is Reed's Extra Ginger Non-Alcoholic Ginger Beer.
It goes well with
And
bourbon.
I gave up my pro card a long time ago, but I have friends that will call me. And isn't that a wonderful thing to have that kind of friend? Who also agree that black licorice is just fine.
It's disgusting.
I'm in the middle
Black
ground on black
licorice is
licorice.
disgusting.
Black licorice
Oh, I
and
will
black
not
jelly
eat it.
beans are God's proof that God loves you and wants you to be happy.
I think you're
No,
a
that's
jelly bean.
bacon.
So yes, that is bacon. I think black licorice is actually from the devil, if we're being honest.
And why
Probably
is
some
that?
kind of satanic thing.
What's my name?
Licorice, Mellow Tom. I have been informed by Jonathan it is now Mellow Tom, and you're no longer Evil Tom.
That was
It's
a
official.
very
There's a name tag.
kind of ill-conceived thought.
You know,
There's a
good
name
half-
tag and everything.
Brian has not been subject to this discussion before. The man deserves a fair shot at going, this is crazy. I ain't going to tell him.
Frog Tech Garden says if you get to pick the flavor lime, lime's not awful.
Lime,
Lime?
licorice or jelly? What?
Jelly beans. I'm guessing jelly
Oh.
beans. Never had
I'm
lime
still saying
licorice.
Bean
you.
flavored.
And black licorice is the only type of licorice, and that's technically correct. The cherry or strawberry or whatever other those are fruit. Those are fruit
Strawberry's
chews.
not bad. Raspberry's pretty decent.
Grape.
Huckleberry
Apricot
is good.
Grape
on the
is
line.
good. Thank you.
And,
Grape, people. Grape. Why is no one on the grape train with me here? Oh, that sounded bad.
You know what?
Grape flavored.
got
Grape flavored.
I've got so many responses there that I cannot say right here.
Peace
Not in
out
front of my
says
daughter,
bacon
though.
for the win. I've never seen bacon jelly beans or bacon licorice.
Quick, patent the
Oregon.
idea.
Oregon does. That jelly bean wall we got stuff off in the taffy, they have the weirdest flavors. Whatever that town was.
Weird Oregon. What's your point?
Yeah, it was some weird shop we went to years ago. I remember it 'cause I took pictures.
America.
It was
Now,
weird.
it all depends on whether they're selling that specific herb that makes you hungry for everything else. You know?
I mean, that explains a lot
Yeah,
of Oregon and
the water.
Colorado and Washington.
Washington, it was so weird.
Washington,
Stuff's legal in Washington.
it didn't used to be weird. It didn't used to
It
be.
is
It just
now.
is now. But everyone's wrong on licorice. Grape licorice is the only licorice.
No.
And I am
no.
very irritated that you can't get it in Texas. It's absolute crap. It's crap.
White grape
I keep
went-
looking because
I'll bet you can get Dr. Pepper licorice. Because that's
I've
also
never seen
That
it,
actually
actually.
sounds really interesting.
I've seen Dr.
It's all right.
Pepper cotton candy. In fact, I think I sent some to you. I
You
did.
send us- Yes. You can get it off
You are
Amazon.
so
man.
welcome.
Now I know.
Because I've seen Dr. Pepper licorice in the stores here in Salt Lake.
Gross.
Surprised
I
you,
admit I
I'm
think that's
surprised
gross.
you don't have it in Texas.
I don't think I've seen it. I'll
That'd
have to
be a
watch
much
now,
natural,
though.
man.
Brisket flavored licorice. Might be interesting.
Yeah, well,
Just give
that
me
would
the
sell.
biscuit, please.
I gotta agree a little bit with Frog Tech. Grape goes in jam.
As
Good
opposed to
Grape
pumpkin.
goes okay. Grape goes in little smokies with barbecue sauce in the slow cooker for grape jam. And we're talking jelly, not jam. Let's be specific here. I'll be pedantic. It's jelly. It's not jam. So get with the program. It's jelly.
You make an interesting rub.
You lose me. You
It
lose me
would.
at grape jelly. Because growing up, we always had Concord grapes. So every year, made tons and tons of grape jelly, and every day at school, I had a sandwich with grape jelly on it. Since I moved out of my parents' house, I have not consumed grape jelly once, and likely never will for the rest of my life.
I will send you a complimentary jar. So as a
I
wedding
think we need to
present
be
next
sen-
year, next July.
Yeah, you need to be sensitive to Brian's childhood trauma. Just all thrown together.
God, I wish that was my childhood trauma.
Just pretend it is. It makes it easier. Just pretend it is.
I will say this on our way out the door here. Going back to jelly beans, the one most interesting flavor I've had in jelly beans. I don't know if I like it, but it was interesting. At one point, I don't know where I'd gotten it from, but I do remember very clearly buttered popcorn flavored jelly bean. That was interesting.
Oh, then you get into the Harry Potter stuff.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've,
you're
right.
yes, my kids have
Yeah.
had booger flavored jelly beans and all kinds of wonderful things out of their every flavor beans.
Which
Yep,
begs the
I got
question, how do you
Grace's-
know you just got a booger flavored one?
I got Grace's boyfriend
Oh, my
some of
kids
those
would
bean
know.
boozled ones that taste weird,
Yeah,
and apparently some of them are extremely gross. I've never tried them, but I have it on good
have
authority. Some of
no
them are nasty.
And Cat Frog Tech says, I was specifically talking jam. I will fight you.
how do
I
you
will
put
fight you.
grapes in jam?
Grape. They don't have seeds. I mean, are you leaving your skins in there? Because that's disgusting. I will fight you on that. That's nasty stuff. I can, okay?
I'll
Anyone
agree
here
with
can
you
tell
on
you that I can. So I will fight you and I will win because I have jam and jelly.
Yeah, and I do believe
And I'm right. So,
SRFTC, I do believe you are right. Jelly Belly for the win. Frog Tech says that Jelly Belly does do a buttered popcorn. I do believe that is where I found
I
it.
also do
Oh, yeah.
a margarita jelly bean that's actually not bad.
yeah. I see. Yeah, they do. And the buttered popcorn, I remember, was a thing in college. I'm not going to say how far back that was, but it still is because Bo likes it. He's got a jelly bean thing. He likes them.
How did I not know this?
It's
You don't
fairly
have small
recent.
children?
All right,
It's
let's-
fairly recent. So, I just want to point out he ate most of Mom's cookies, which is also crap, and the fudge. So, I make these concessions. I let it happen.
That's what you get for having a little child.
It
What about
is
little children?
just crap.
Well, we are just a little bit over an hour into an hour show, so we should really probably think about setting this one aside. Live viewers, thank you for watching. Podcast listeners, thank you for listening. We're going to go ahead and set this one aside. We will catch you next time. And we are clear of recording. And I'm going to go ahead and kill the streams. Again, live viewers, thanks for watching. And just honesty is the best policy. I'm going to be I'll be around for about another week and a half. Then I'm going on vacation for a week, and then I'm going back to trucking. I'm one of the few people you will ever meet that has had a stroke, recovered enough that they could get DOT certification back medically to go over the road. My income will basically double, and Susan and I discussed it, and it is the right move for us. If I go back to driving truck in a couple years, she can retire. I very much believe I'll retire 2 days after they put me in the ground, but I would love for her to be able to retire. So we're going to be doing a show, I'm sure, next weekend. After that, it's going to be kind of hit and miss as to when I'm in town. It may be on the weekend, it may be during the week, it may be just Brian and Kat doing one. Maybe they'll have a guest, maybe they won't. But I'll get to them as I can. So,
Yep, in the next few weeks, I should have Unhinged Dad's podcast starting up if anybody's interested. That's going to be an interesting
Unhinged what?
Unhinged Dads.
You did say dads. Okay.
He did. I heard him.
all right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kill the streams. Live viewers, again, thanks for watching. Join us next weekend, and I'm guessing there's going to be a show next weekend, and then we'll see what happens.